This sitting meditation has been created by Ralph Richmond. Perhaps we can begin by adopting an attentive position, because how we set the body is going to influence the mind. And once you have found a position that is both erect and dignified, perhaps you can turn your attention to your breathing. And for this practice, I'd like to suggest that we put our attention on the breath from the belly, observing each full in-breath and each relaxing out-breath. Perhaps we can notice how the belly rises on the in-breath and falls back towards the body on the out-breath. One way you can help yourself with this is to say in-breath and out-breath in the quiet of your own mind. And any time you discover that your attention is no longer with your breathing, you can gently return it there. And perhaps now you can extend your attention so that with each breath in and with each relaxing breath out, you sense your feet on the floor. And perhaps now we can extend the attention once again so that with each full in-breath and each relaxing out-breath, we sense the body from the hips down through the feet, moment by moment and breath by breath. And perhaps you can note where your mind is. The mind likes to wander, but every time we can notice our wandering mind and return our attention to the breath, we are practicing mindfulness. And perhaps now we can extend our attention so that with each full in-breath and each relaxing out-breath, we can sense the body from the shoulders down through to the feet, moment by moment and breath by breath. Once again, noticing where the mind is. It likes to wander. And perhaps you can name where it has gone if your attention happens not to be with the breath. And return now your attention to the breath and the body. And perhaps now we can extend our attention so that with each full in-breath and each relaxing out-breath, we sense the entire body from the head down through to the feet, moment by moment, noticing each full in-breath and each relaxing out-breath. Remembering perhaps to count the breaths. And perhaps you can notice where is your attention. And you can perhaps name where your mind has gone if it happens not to be with the breath or with the breath and body. And perhaps now as you have a sense of the entire body with each full in-breath and each relaxing out-breath, perhaps you can just notice the body, noticing any places that are comfortable or uncomfortable, any places that feel tight or loose, naming places that perhaps there's pain or lack of pain. And just for the next few moments, as you keep your attention with the breath, perhaps you can move your attention around the body, getting a sense of what is it like with the feet, what is it like in the position that you are, both outside as the body is touching the floor or chairs, and perhaps also inside, how it feels in muscles or tendons or joints today, moment by moment, and breath by breath. And perhaps as you notice these different places of the body, you can just name them as either pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. Another way to do this is to simply name what is happening. For example, today I can notice that the sciatica on the left side of my body seems a bit active, as does a strain in my left calf and my left knee. But my right knee and my right calf and the right side of my hip are very comfortable. And I'm simply observing. I'm not entering into the unpleasantness of the sciatica or the calf muscle, but nor am I entering into the pleasantness of the right side of my lower body. I'm simply noting and observing with each breath in and with each breath out. And perhaps now we can once again return our attention to the breath and the body, noticing each full in-breath and each relaxing out-breath. And perhaps now we can shift our attention to hearing. So the breath and a sense of the body is in the background, but in the foreground perhaps we can just give some attentiveness to seeing what is here to be heard. The loudness of sounds, the softness of sounds, the gentleness of sounds, the absence of sounds, the harshness of sounds, just hearing and perhaps naming what it is we hear or what it is we don't hear, moment by moment and breath by breath. And perhaps you can simply notice, where is your attention? And if it hasn't been with hearing, you could return it there. And perhaps now we can shift our attention to the inner home theater. Perhaps you can imagine that as you sit with the breath and with a sense of the body, you can be at a seat at the inner home theater where you now can give your attention to thoughts or to feelings. And perhaps you might notice worry highways or memories or future concerns, images, or perhaps feelings that have been underneath the surface or begging for attention. And is it possible simply to notice and name what comes up moment by moment and breath by breath, rather than being taken down a memory highway or a strong emotional charge or a biting body pain? Can we keep our attentiveness in the breath, moment by moment and breath by breath, as we simply observe what is happening within us with each full in-breath and with each relaxing out-breath? And perhaps you can notice where is your attention. And once again, perhaps you can keep your attention in the background with a sense of the breath and the body, but in the foreground, observing the thoughts or feelings or emotional charges that your mind presents you with. Again, being an observer and perhaps simply naming what is happening. And once again, Can you observe where your mind is? And if it isn't with your breathing, you can gently return it there. The mind loves to wander and get caught up in all kinds of things. But every time we can observe where our attention is and return our attention to the breath, we're practicing mindfulness and we're calming our mind. And once again, perhaps you can observe where your mind is. And if it isn't with the breath, you can return it there. And before this time of practicing ends, perhaps you can commend yourself for commencing the practice of sitting meditation, which requires attentiveness and patience as we learn a new method. And whenever it seems okay with you, you can open your eyes and you can return here.